A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to films I'm willing to talk about again. And now, right off the bat, I'm pretty excited to be talking about the first ever film of a pretty long-running series. Nearly 50 years ago, we had gotten ourselves Benji, 1974, of course. Not necessarily speaking about any of the reboots that came along. But yeah, you know what? This was probably one of the finest examples of a film that actually started a pretty big series. And with the first film, in most series at least, it's not really expected that sequels should come around. Because with a lot of films that we've gotten over the years, The Iron Giant being one of those kind of examples. Films that did not need sequels in order to be so good on their own. But yet, a lot of people would wonder, what would sequels to certain film series be like? Benji, at the time, was a bit different than most others. It was not just any film about a small dog living a life out there on the city. But this was in fact a story of a dog that had actually gone and lived life throughout the streets, in homes, friends and family, and eventually saving the day. Benji is in fact a small dog who lives in a few different places throughout an entire city and does in fact try his best to get along with some of his friends as well as his found family. Of course, not all family happens to approve of this decision to have a dog around, especially, wow, this one case. Yet Benji tries his best as possible to charm and entertain everybody the best he can do. However, things do begin to take a bit of a different turn as some changes begin to take place. Benji's old friend does in fact begin to have some company over, some parties every now and then, and it gets to the point where Benji's no longer welcome, or even invited. So this of course does leave him to be pretty sad for the most part, but eventually what happens is something rather scary. Some of Benji's old friends are in fact gagged and tied at the mercy of certain kidnappers. These kidnappers are in fact holding them hostage for a very perilous situation that is in fact bound to go downhill from there. So what happens then? Well, he simply goes right back on over to the same house that he supposedly was not welcomed in to begin with, to alert the others of how there is in fact a hostage situation going on. Action begins to take place, and these kidnappers eventually become incarcerated. If it weren't for Benji's tenacity and smart thinking, then probably some of his friends would have in fact seen a pretty bad time ahead of them. So just by going off of what I remember the most about this film, it really goes to show good memories can stick around for as long as possible. And even more so when considering the fact that we will have a lot of films to go about this. Lots of films have this sort of subject or this kind of cliche within them. And that just makes me happy knowing the fact that we've had a lot of well-known examples over the past 50 years. Considering how this franchise is almost that old, it really goes to show we will be having plenty more of this action to take place. And also, just to ensure that the works of most of the writers, directors, producers, and casting members are in fact in play, then there's a good chance that even with the 2018 reboot on Netflix, the Benji films are here to stay. And we won't be seeing any shortage of this little dog anytime soon. But in any case, that is just about all I have to offer on this part So if you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.